So this here is the Phoenix Mentor, an old banger that we use as a runabout. It has a 28-inch front wheel and a 26-inch rear wheel, and that can cause a bit of confusion when you need to change the tire. But it also has some other issues. The drivetrain sounds a bit crunchy. So before I start working on this thing, I will pressure wash it and then let it dry in the sun. I think that was its first wash ever. At least the first one that I gave it. But now I won't get dirty hands when working on this thing. Check out how majestic the kickstand looks in the sun. It really shines. It got the kickstand from the Ultra bicycle that I scrapped. Just wonderful how those things work out. So it's another one of those wet and windy Dutch summer days. I would have preferred to take a bike ride, but instead I brought the Phoenix Mentor indoors, and now I'm going to have a look at the drivetrain. Well, the first thing that I need to do is remove the chain case, and based on this metal trim piece, I would say this bicycle is from the early 90s. That's pretty disgusting in here. Alright, I'm also going to remove this lower piece of the chain case so I can have a look at the front chain ring. It should also make installing a new chain a little bit easier. And I think now I need to unscrew this trim piece, which of course is difficult. Huh. Maybe it's not even necessary. Whoa, I can already see lots of dirt. That looks terrible. And to be honest, I'm not sure if this front chain ring is still any good. Those teeth look rather smallish. So here's a closer look and check out the amount of dirt on this chain. And this bicycle chain has been collecting dirt for years. It does look a bit loose on the chain ring, but I really should test a bit more to the front of the chain ring, so more teeth will be in contact with the chain ring. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this gear or this chain ring is toast. I'm loosening up the top part of the chain case, so hopefully I can drop it down a bit and get access to the front part. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, you know what? It's probably a good idea to take off this piece of that chain case. So I managed to take off the whole chain case, and now look at this. How easy it is to pull the chain off the chainring. This thing is heavily worn, and the chain isn't old. I remember installing this chain maybe 5 years ago. I guess at the time this chain ring was already heavily worn. Yeah, so this bicycle really needs another chain ring, and that kinda seals the fate for my Chinesium bicycle, because, well, it's going to be turned into a parts bicycle, because, well, I do not really like to cycle on it, and there is some room in my blue scrap metal container. So I'm going to quickly remove the drivetrain from this bicycle, and then take the one from the Chinesium bicycle as well. I have been riding it a few times this summer, but that thing is awkward. It's too high for me. I have difficulties getting on and off, and I don't like it. It rides okay. The frame is straight, and the rear coaster brake hub, the Chinese coaster brake hub, is okay in my book. No problems there. But yeah, I prefer to keep this bicycle and scrap the other one. Let's remove this loud piece. It's like constantly ringing a bell. Whoa, check out the amount of rust in here. I'm not really sure if I will be able to pull off this crank. There really is a remarkable amount of rust in here. It needs some time to soak up some diesel or WD-40 if I will have any chance of getting this off. Hopefully I can shock this loose. Yeah, that wasn't too hard. And with this bolt removed, it will be a little easier to clean this up on the inside. So now I'm going to do the other side while this WD-40 can do its soaking work. I assumed that this little crank bolt would be 15 millimeters, but yeah, I assumed wrong, because it clearly isn't 15, it must be 14. Whoa, it's starting to rain really hard. More of that wet stuff, just what we need. Looks like the dust cover is already missing on this side, so this bolt looks even worse than the other one. And the internal thread for the crank arm is also rather nasty. And this time I brought a 14mm socket, and that's fitting. And just like the other one, this is also right hand thread. And it moved rather easy, surprisingly easy. You know what, before I remove this bolt I will take off the pedal, because I'm not going to use the Chinesium pedals. I do not really like those plastic things. And the pedals on this side of the bicycle use a left hand thread, and they were pretty loose. These ball bearings inside the pedals feel, well, I can feel them, so I will put some oil on these pedals and let them soak in for a while. It's already starting to feel better, but this pedal, this right hand side pedal, was missing the dust cover on the other side. The other pedal still feels a whole lot better, but as long as it turns, it's good enough. With the pedals soaking in some liquid gold, I can continue with the crank arm removal. The threads look a bit nasty. And now I need to get my special chain breaker tool. No way back now. I better get this job finished today, because, well, this bicycle does get a lot of use. The bottom bracket still feels very good. No problems there. Thank God. And now I need to take care of this biohazard. Yeah, I don't think I have ever seen such a dirty chain. Damn gravity. Check out the amount of dirt this chain ring has been collecting over the years. And I think there's even more on the other side. I guess it's a good thing that I don't need to clean this off. I can just throw it out. There's room in my scrap metal container. Hopefully I can screw in the crank puller. Well, I tried, but I cannot thread in the crank puller straight. It keeps pulling to one side. The thread in the crank arm is really bad. So I'm going to try it like this and hope for the best. This crank puller has survived some abuse in the past, so it might survive it again. Maybe this crank arm is already a bit loose. It doesn't feel right. Yep, it's really pulling to one side. So this plan is not going to work. Although I must say it was a bad plan to start with. Okay, I'll try and grind off a little bit of this side. Hopefully the thread just a little bit deeper. Hopefully that deeper portion will be able to start. Yep, I think that worked. Now hopefully there's enough thread left to pull out this crank arm. Here goes nothing. And now I'm going to give it a little dab with a hammer. Yeah, I think it's coming. Yep, I win again. And I think this was the most difficult side, because this crank arm was missing the dust cover. After lots of scraping and poking and plenty of WD-40, I think I finally cleaned up the thread well enough to screw on the crank arm. And well, I know it's good enough because I'm doing this for the second time. And I did manage to screw it in at least 3 full turns. Of course, the difficult part is starting the thread on camera. I think there it goes. As you can see, it's already clean. Now I need my spanner. Now hopefully this crank will not be a struggle to get off the axle. It actually was quite a bit of a struggle to get the crank puller out of the other crank, the one that I cut up. And I believe it's already coming. Yep, there it is. And this bracket for the chain case is in the way. There it is. Alright, progress. I guess now I should bring in the Chinesium bicycle and start taking that one apart. And here are the parts that I need to fix up the Phoenix Mentor bicycle. Yeah, it's the end of the line for the Chinesium bicycle. I tried to like it, but yeah, it's just too big and I'm having troubles getting on this thing, and well, I just don't like it. It has not convinced me of its right for existence. So I will put it upside down and take off the parts that I need. And later on I will cut it into pieces. Yeah, don't be sad. There's plenty of Chinese bicycles. But before I can take off the crank, I will have to remove the chain case. And I remember having a hard time getting this chain case installed. Sounds like it's raining again. Great summer we're having. There's still quite a bit of rust on this chain. Come on, don't be so difficult. It's your time to die! Got it. Alright, I'll check the stretch on this chain. Maybe I can reuse it. Here's my tool for measuring the chain stretch, and this side doesn't drop in between the links, so I believe this chain is still good. So I can definitely reuse it on the Phoenix Mentor bicycle. It's stubborn. There it is. I win. Now I need to get the squeak link removed. Got it. Got it. And got it. And there's the chain. And now I need to find all those quick link pieces. A little bit of lubrication. And now it's time to remove this bolt. Wow. Really? Is it that loose? I guess it is. That's what you get with an amateur bicycle mechanic like me. Sometimes you get lucky. And now I should screw in the crank board. And hopefully this will be just as easy. Because, well, there hasn't been enough time for these threads to completely rust. Yeah. I think it started. Also completely loose. To be honest, I did feel, well, I did think that I felt some movement coming from the crank. But yeah, I didn't bother to check this out. Because, well, I knew the fate of this bicycle was basically sealed. Right now I'm going to take up the crank on the other side. Yeah, it's coming. It's already loose. Alright, I got my cranks. Now this Chinesian bicycle can go back outside. So the Phoenix Mentor is back on the center stage after the Chinesian bicycle was so kind and offered its crank set. Now the first thing that I want to do is take out the rear cock so I can replace it with something a bit better. So let's take out the rear wheel. Unfortunately, this bicycle is missing its chain tensioners for as long as I can remember. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And the ones on the Chinesian bicycle were of a different design. And I really do not like these types of dropouts, these diagonal dropouts. I prefer the regular horizontal ones. And I could have taken the rear wheel from the Chinesian bicycle, but yeah, I like to keep this torpedo hub. This rear cock is kind of dirty. Now, where's the start of that C-clip? Got it. And this one can go into the scrap metal container. Clean enough. And I'm hoping this cog will be fitting. It might be too thick. It might just work without any problem. Yeah, that worked out. Alright, job done. And the wheel can go back in. And I really should try and hunt down some of these chain tensioners. But yeah, not today. An extra washer on this side would also be a good idea, but the axle has been moved a little bit to the other side, so that doesn't leave a whole lot of axle to fill up any gaps with washers. And I guess now comes an important moment. Is this crank going to fit? Huh. Not really. It's sticking out way too far. Damn, I wasn't expecting that. Was there a little bit of dirt on her? Well, let's try that again. After cleaning it a bit. It doesn't look any better. Well, I think it did go on maybe a millimeter further, but that's not good enough. The chain line will be completely offset. Well, I just remembered that I still had that aluminium crankset from that Ultra bicycle that I scrapped, and this one seems to be fitting a lot better, so I will be using this one. I was thinking about using this crankset on my old Gazelle bicycle that I inherited from my uncle. But yeah, this is more important now. I'll find another one for that bicycle. Or maybe I'll buy a new one. Why is it? I can keep turning. Come on, bottom out. Alright, I'll install the other crank arm and then I will put on the chain. Well, both crank arms have been installed, and I must say I feel a bit bad for the Chinesian bicycle. It wasn't yet necessary for it to make such a huge offer. But yeah, I am going to use the chain from that bicycle, so it wasn't completely for nothing. So everything is back together. Let's see. We got a crankset coming from that blue Ultra bicycle. The chain is coming from that Chinesian bicycle, and the rear cog came from that green Gazelle bicycle. And to be honest, it completely sucks. I think the cones on the rear hub, on the coaster brake hub, they must be too tight. Well, I guess I will have to investigate this problem. This is taking way too long. So the wheel is back in, but still there is something wrong here. If I hit the brake, I can feel some vibration coming through the chain, and I don't believe the chain is too tight. I think it's coming from the rear hub, but I don't have the correct tools to open that hub up to adjust the cones. But I definitely believe there's too much drag coming from the rear hub. I'm going to install some pedals and take the bike out for a test ride. Maybe that way I can get some insight in what is wrong with this thing. So I had a short test ride, and the bicycle rides a lot better than it did before. There are no longer any crunching noises coming from the drivetrain. So that's good, but as soon as I start coasting, and you might be able to see this on camera, as soon as I stop the pedals, there's some vibration coming through the chain to the crank arm, and I can definitely feel that. I think there must be a bearing that is either kaput or too tight in the rear hub. You hear all of that vibration? Well, to be honest, I'm not going to bother with this right now. I will slap on the chain case and be done with this bicycle. And I know at some point it will come back to haunt me, but for now it's good enough, and I improved the situation, so I'm calling it a win. And I'll see if I can get some chain tensioners for the next time when I'm working on this bicycle. So I had the wheel back out because I knew I wasn't happy with my failure. This time the chain is a little bit looser, and I think I also managed to adjust the cones a little bit, although I do not have the proper tools for this hub. And at this point the vibration traveling through the chain to the crank arms is not as bad as before. So I'm going to leave it like this, and the next time that I'm going to work on this bicycle I should have some chain tensioners. Alright, next I'm going to reinstall the chain case. Not bad. And of course I forgot that stupid trim piece. Well, I'm not sure, but this has to be good enough, because I'm not spending a minute more on this stupid piece of tin. Although I'm certain it will fall off at some point. I think the chain is too loose and hitting the chain case. Yep, definitely so. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is brush on a little bit of oil before I throw this bicycle outside where it normally lives. Can you hear that stupid trim piece rubbing against the crank arms? I guess that chain case does need a little bit more tweaking, because I do like a quiet bicycle. Yeah, it definitely needs chain tensioners. This is way too much slag. And now it's time to close up the patient. So, can you hear that? More rain. Oh joy. So, the Phoenix Mentor is back on its wheels, and I wish I could say that everything was fixed, but it definitely isn't fixed. There is something wrong with that rear hub, probably a broken bearing. So at some point I will have to do some more work on this bicycle, but for now it is going back outside in the rain where it usually lives. Lovely weather. Look at it, standing there with its majestic kickstand and its shiny new crankset. And to make an end to this stupid video, I should take it out for a test ride on the local dirt road. The wind is starting to pick up, so I'll have to keep this short. Also, the battery is almost empty. Only a few days ago this dirt road was changed into a very long puddle. It went from here all the way to back there. Alright, the bicycle is riding a lot better than before. There are no longer any crunching sounds coming from the bottom bracket or from the drivetrain. But there still is a problem. I can feel some vibrations when I start coasting, and also when I apply the brake. So I will definitely have to do some more work to this bicycle somewhere in the future. But for now, it's a whole lot better than before. Okay, it's time to stop this video. Thanks for watching, and to be continued.